Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the most underrated Pokemon for the Open Great League, and it's Bronzong. Like, this Pokemon, you've never really seen it at all, but this Pokemon actually has so much play in the current meta, just if you think about it. Like, so many Pokemon are kinda weak to, like, those typings in general. We see already one of them. We have the Wigglytuff. We're going to be able to resist the Charm. We're going to be able to go for the Psyshock. But also, you have so many Fighting type currently around with the Poliwrath, with the Annihilate now as well, which you're going to be able to farm down easily with some shields as well. And you have just so many great matchups. I actually thought of going for the Jirachi instead, but I kind of want to go for the little bit of a cheaper version. But also, I think that currently the coverage of Psyshock is a little bit better than Doom Desire, even though Doom Desire is a really strong move in general. But as you're gonna see here already, we're going to be able to take out the opponent's Wigglytuff with a shield advantage, realigning our Pokemon as well, which is really important. And this is going to be the first game already, basically, because they have the Victory Bell in the back, a Shiny Shadow, which I actually also got recently with, like, really good IV, so definitely can't wait to try it out, and the opponent basically can forfeit here already. Next opponent, Annihilate. We're going to be able to swap out here fairly easily, as our Charger Bug is going to be fine against it. We're going to get out in a Molga, which is kind of spicy from the opponent. I like to see this, but Charger Bug is really decent against the Molga. This is going to be definitely a winning matchup. Their fast move is resisted, our fast move is neutral. Yes, Acrobatics going to hit me for kind of a lot of damage, but it does not really matter too much anyway. I can go for another Exeter, which is going to be able to get the shield from the opponent. I can go for the full farm, and I should be able to survive one Acrobatics from this range. Charger Bug is fairly bulky, and we're going to be barely able to survive it. I actually thought it would be a little bit less close there, but we can even go for another move here against the Annihilate. But with this, we can align our best answer against this Pokemon, which is going to be Bronzong. And yes, there are going to be also some Mud Boys around, which is going to be a little bit awkward for Bronzong, but also Cresselia gets completely hardwalled by this Pokemon. Every single move that it has is going to be horrific. And again, next game here, we're going to be able to easily wall the opponent. They can forfeit already. Next opponent coming through, Great Lead Force time around. We can stay in, but the opponent stops into the Annihilate. This was, I think, my first game. I was not really that, like, I don't know, like, it didn't really have the reaction time here. Should have stopped out most likely immediately into the Bronzong. But now I can go ahead and use one shield, farm them down, and realign, which I'm totally fine with, and I'm totally okay with that. We have now still all the health basically on all our Pokemon. We also have now Payback on this Pokemon here, which is going to be a great coverage move for most of the Steel-type Pokemon. For example, we get our shield back anyway. We can still survive those moves. They're forced to go for a charge move here, which I can let go through as well. And so we can realign our Pokemon, and it's looking really decent for us. But yeah, again, Bronzong, by far the most underrated Pokemon. Even against Pokemon like the Gligar, you're still going to have some kind of play. By the way, great play by the opponent here, catching on the Pelipper. Doesn't really matter because you have a Charger Bug in the back. And so the opponent is going to be a little bit screwed here. I can go for another charge move. This is going to be able to get the final shield of the opponent. And I actually decide to let this move go through because I'm fairly certain I would still survive a Hurricane from this range. But they're gonna go for the Weather Ball anyway, so it does not really matter, as I can take this next move as well. We're going to be in such a great spot that the opponent should already forfeit, in my opinion. But we can just go for another charge move here, do a ton of damage with the discharge, and yeah, the opponent is literally in farm down range. For our Whiscash, we can survive one move, we can still use our shield here, and so the opponent has nowhere to go. Just farming them down, they're still gonna go for the charge move. Like, it's not even going to be close, man. You can just forfeit this game, so bye-bye. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have here the Swampert in the lead, which is going to be a little bit awkward for later on, but they're going to swap out anyway into their Sableye, and I can go for a Scald. And I think maybe I screwed this game up, I don't know. We're going to be able to go for the Scald, get the attack drop, which is kind of nice. But of course, it's going to be a little bit scary as the opponent would have access to the super effective move Power Gem here, as they're going to have the Shadow variant. But they're still going to go for the foul play. So this was a good predict by me. I can still go for another charge move here. Exeter is coming through. And I should be able to just knock them out with one more Volt Switch afterwards. I don't think they get to another move here. They shouldn't. I wouldn't. Yeah, they definitely don't. And so we're going to be able to now realign, have the Exodus for the Swampert, and if we get them low already, like, it doesn't really matter because we even have our confusion damage from Bronzong, which is totally fine. But we even reach another move with our Charger Bug here, allowing us to get the final shield from the opponent, and they're still forced to go for a charge move, kind of showcasing how cool the Charger Bug can be. As the Hydro Cannon gonna knock us out, we can go back into our Whiscash, they have the Cresselia, and we can say goodbye to the opponent here, because look at the damage output from the Cresselia as well. Like, they're gonna go here now for the the future side, have fun with that. Like, it's double resisted. We are not really caring too much about it, while we can go for the payback here, doing some super effective damage, as well as you're gonna put them now into the deep red health. And theoretically, you can just go for the full farm down here as well, which is kind of wild. And you don't really have to care about what the opponent tries to do. And so that's exactly what we're going to try to do here, because, yeah, our Bronzong is just going to our closer here for this matchup anyway, because he can just take those moves. We have like 2 moves stored, or like nearly 2 moves stored. I can use a shield here, it does not really matter what is going to happen now. And as we're gonna see, the Psyshock is gonna get the knockout, and so we're going to be able to easily win this game, and we can move on to the next one. One Pokemon that I actually wanted to make a video about as well, maybe I'm still gonna do it, would be Hypno. Hypno would be actually a smart one. Here's, by the way, the game that I screwed up a little bit. This was really unfortunate because it was really silly by me, and we're gonna see it here right now as well. The opponent's going to let this move go through. We don't get the debuff, which is kind of awkward already, because if we... I actually thought that I got the debuff here at this point, which was really silly. They're gonna go for the return, and they're sadly gonna get me perfectly into farm down range for their own Sableye. And I should have just used the shield. Like, I actually thought, I think at this point, that I got the debuff onto the opponent, which would have easily allowed us to still win this matchup, but I didn't. And so I unaligned my Pokemon, and this is going to be very bad for us, because they're most likely going to have something like a Wigglytuff or something in the back, if it's going to be what it's always going to be, and it is what it's always going to be. And so it's going to be a way worse matchup for us. And yeah, this was definitely a mistake by me, because if I just used one shield, realigned, would be one shield down, but I would have the Whiscash against the Bastiodon and our Bronzong against the Wigglytuff, and what is the opponent supposed to do then? Like, it would have been a great matchup for us, but yeah, definitely misplayed by me. Should have used a shield there, but like, it is what it is. We're going to still try our best to maybe still come back from this game, but the opponent actually plays it really well, as we can see here. The opponent going to let this move go through, but they're basically trying to get themselves into a position where they get as much energy as possible, which is really smart here while being very low. So yeah, at the end of the day, they're going to have now the switch clock back up, which is going to be a little bit annoying after the Stone Edge, so they're going to be able to swap out and win the game. But again, like, something I could have played better, and so it's kind of unfortunate for me that I'm going to lose this game, because I'm not going to be able to get to anything else anymore. Of course, one more Mud Bomb, and they can now even go for the Icy Wind, which I'm not even going to shield, because I know this game is over. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have the Abomasnow lead. Like, you couldn't really imagine a worse lead for us, but we are not giving up yet. We can swap out into the Charger Bug, and we're going to let this move go through, which is going to be okay for us, but we're going to still have X to the move X though, which is going to do some decent damage. It's going to be a decent damage against the Lantern here, which I'm still okay with. We're gonna get this Pokemon out of the way. For our Bronzong, it's still like a neutral matchup for Bronzong. It's not a bad matchup, but yeah, we're going to still not really have the greatest time here. Maybe I still get a shield, who knows? We are going to find that out very shortly as the opponent goes ahead and goes for a Surf. They can just knock me out here. There's not a lot that I can do about it, but at least I can go up to like nearly 100 energy now with my Whiscash. And so this is going to be okay for me at least. We're still going to have to deal with the Abomasnow though, and now we're going to be at like 99 energy, which is okay for me. I can go for the Mud Bombs, knock them out, and we can swap out immediately. The opponent is definitely going to go back into their Abomasnow, which is going to be their best matchup anyway, and we have to see what they have in the back. It's going to be the Poliwrath, and this is exactly what we were hoping, because now we have Confusion, we have the Psyshock, we are forcing the shields of the opponent, and also we still kinda, yeah, keep our Bronzong around here. And this is the cool thing here, this is the Steel type that still only gets neutral damage from counter and resisted damage from Icy Wind, which is kinda funny. So we're gonna be able to go for another charge move, but I kinda still want to keep my Bronzong kinda healthy, because I kinda have to. I still need this Pokemon for the Abomasnow. But the opponent is going to be able to kinda outspeed me here. Try to swap out and I can farm them down, which is amazing, as I can now go for the Scald. The opponent still has to go for an Energy Ball in order to knock me out. Like, any Icy Wind will, or like not the Icy Wind, was like I think the Weather Ball that they had, will not be enough. And so this must be an Energy Ball in order to knock me out. Let's see what they're going to go for. It is just the Weather Ball, and the Scald should be enough to knock them out at this point. So again, Bronzong actually did a great job there, and we can move on to the next opponent. Skarmory Elite. This is totally fine for this team, but the entire team is good against Skarmory. So I decided to go for a Scald here, but usually I want to swap out eventually, because again, like, the entire team is very decent against it. And so I rather swap out into my Charger Bug, and we're gonna get out the Gligar, which is kind of what we also want to try to do here. This is the cool thing about Charger Bug. Charger Bug plus the Bronzong is basically a really good backline, I would say, because Charger Bug is a great Save Swap in general, and Bronzong definitely does not really appreciate Pokemon like this Pokemon, like here the Ground-type Pokemon Gligar, or any kind of Fire-type Pokemon, and you're still going to have like access to like neutral moves here at least. So basically, with the Charger Bug, you are able to bait out most of the Pokemon that you don't want to face with your Bronzong, which is amazing. And so we're going to be able to now align our Whiscash against the opponent's Lantern, which is even better for us, as this is going to be able to now, Surf coming through, going to do some decent damage. You can still go for another move here, which is going to be the Mud Bomb, which can get the shield from them. They're mostly going to swap out eventually, I would imagine. Yeah, they're gonna swap out into a Skarmory again, which is totally fine. The opponent has a ton of energy, we have to be a little bit careful here, but what we can do is we can swap out into our Bronzong, and Bronzong resists every single move of the Skarmory. And again, like, Bronzong is just putting in some work here. We can easily take 2 Brave Birds from the opponent, which is really, really cool as well. Like, Bronzong has really good bulk, by the way. And now we can still go for a charge move here. She'll win for the payback, does a little bit more damage, I think. But at the end of the day, it does not really matter. Maybe actually does matter, because he could go for the full farmland maybe after the payback. But it is kind of okay still. I think I still would be able to get 2 more moves here. The opponent is still doing resisted fast move damage. I do super effective fast move damage, so it definitely still looks kind of decent here for us, as you're going to be able to use a shield here. The opponent does not have a shield anymore, so the next Mud Bomb, which is coming through right now, is going to pick up the knockout, and we can move on into the next game. Next opponent coming up, we're going to have the Poliwrath in the lead, which is going to be okay for us. This is going to be a matchup where you can still swap out because you have 2 good answers in the back, and we're gonna get out the opponent's Lickitung, which is exactly what I want to do with my little bug boy here, the Charger Bug. Is he going to be able to get those X's off? We're gonna basically get rid of the Lick user, which would be a little bit problematic for the Bronzong. Like, this is a funny thing as well, like, the matchup for Lickitung versus Bronzong is really, really close, but really depends on kind of which situation you have yourself in. Basically, if the opponent's Lickitung has already a little bit of health gone and has just a ton of energy, the matchup is really good for the Bronzong. But if it's just like neutral and like 2-shield scenario, it's a little bit tricky because the only real damage output is the fast move, not the charge moves. And so like energy can be completely dumped basically onto that Bronzong, but the really fast move can be a little bit tricky. You're going to see that I have to go still for 1 Mud Bomb, sadly, because the opponent would have got to another charge move here, which would have been double super effective. So Mud Bomb going to pick up the knockout. You're gonna see that the opponent swaps into their Cresselia now, and with this we're going to be able to swap out into our Bronzong, which is going to have super effective damage for everyone here. Super effective payback for the Cresselia. Future Sight does no damage, and super effective Psyshocks for the opponent's Poliwrath. This game is not over yet though. We can still maybe have some problems later on, because they still do some decent damage with counter, and I'm still going to be forced to use a shield here, I would imagine. The Icy one is coming through, which is a little bit annoying, but as long as we can outspeed them, we should be fine, and we cannot outspeed them, and this is so bad. This is so bad, and this is so unfortunate now, because we were in like such a great position, but because the Poliwrath had so much energy already, we're forced to go for a Mud Bomb by Undercharge so I can get 1 more fast move in, but I really need to get like 2 Scald debuffs in a row to maybe survive a Grass Knot from the opponent. First Scald coming through, you know my debuff luck, and it doesn't matter anyway, because the opponent already has a Grass Knot, so good game there, still kinda unfortunate. Next opponent coming through, final one for today. We're going to have a great lead here of the Clodsire, and we don't even need our lead still, because we're going to still have the Bronzong in the back, which is going to be fine against the Clodsire. But we're going to be able to get the attack drop against the opponent's Sableye, but because what I just told you, I don't really care too much about my Charger Bug as well. I don't need to realign. It is cool to realign, but I don't need to. And this is the most important thing here, because I can go for the extra, get them low, but they can still get to another move here. And I don't care. I just gonna let this move go through. I can farm them down with my Mud Shot variant here of the Whiscash. Get some nice energy, and we're gonna see it's going to be a Jellicent in the back. I can go for the Mud Bomb spam, and it should be alright. I just leave my shields for my Bronzong in the back, because even the confusion damage is going to do a ton of damage against the Jellicent, which is going to be so nice for us. We're gonna see as well, Mud Bomb is coming through, is going to get a lot of damage onto them, or the final shield. It does actually get the final shield, and I'm just going to let the move go through. I don't care. Shadow Ball doesn't even knock me out from this range as far as I know, and it doesn't, and I can swap out into the Bronzong. The opponent goes for their own charge move. I'm just going to use a shield just in case, most likely a Surf anyway, but it does not really matter as the opponent swaps now into the Clodsire, and you see already the damage is just chunking here. They do double resisted damage with their fast move. Of course, Earthquake can be a little bit tricky later on, but as you can see here, I have some energy advantage. I can use a shield, and with this we will be able to now just, yeah, shield up a Sludge Bomb, which is kinda sad, but we can still just go for the Psyshock, knock them out, and we're just going to go for the full farm run against the Jealous. And then Bronzong, honestly, is such a cool Pokemon in the current meta. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.